Hello again, friends. This is Dan once again along with Coco, the Wonder Dog back there, and I've got a new two-part videos, and this is going to be about the precision of prophecy. Um, Now, we're talking about prophecies that appear to have contradictions or prophecies that seem to have synonymous terms. Be careful when you run into these. When you find an apparent contradiction, as the late Chuck Missler would say, rejoice. Behind that apparent contradiction is a wonderful truth. A remez is what the rabbis would call it, and it just simply means there's something deeper. In other words, the Holy Spirit is saying, dig here. Also, when the wording of prophecy appears to be synonymous or use synonymous terms, be careful because there may be a subtle difference between the terms that reveals a truth that you or I might miss. I'll mention a few here and then a few more in the next video so that we can keep these videos short. First one, the prophecy about Jesus and how he would die. In Isaiah 53 verse 9, and they made his grave with the wicked, but with the rich at his death. And then again in Isaiah 53 verse 12, he was numbered with the transgressors. Jesus died between two criminals, but his burial took place in a new, freshly cut tomb of a rich man, Joseph of Arimathea. The second point I want to make, Zechariah 12 verse 10. They will look upon me whom they have pierced. Now, capital punishment in Israel was by stoning. And that was from the time of Moses up until about 6 or 7 AD, when a governor, Roman governor, forerunner of Pilate named Coponius, took away the right of capital punishment and replaced it with the Roman way of capital punishment, which was crucifixion. Now, when Zechariah made that prophecy, it must have seemed very strange at the time, but it was literally fulfilled in spite of how the prophecy looked to them in Zechariah's day, that it would be crucifixion and piercing rather than stoning. Now, the real fulfillment of this passage in Zechariah will occur at the end of the tribulation when Israel realizes the Antichrist has betrayed them, and they realize Jesus was and is the true Messiah, and they petition him to return. The third one I want to mention is there were wicked counselors saying that God would keep Jerusalem from being fully taken to Babylon. Now, you know, Babylon had already taken some captives and had installed a vassal king. But by this time, you know, there's so much rebellion, and Babylon had had a bellyful with putting in vassal kings and then having problems with them later. Now, Ezekiel, in discussing the prince Zedekiah, or king, says, I will bring him to Babylon, yet he shall not see it, and he will die there. Well, there was ridicule, you know. I mean, he's going to go to Babylon and die, but he won't see it? Well, yes. And here's what happened. He was captured, his sons were slain before his eyes, and then his eyes were put out. And he lived out the rest of his life blind in Babylon. You know, God says what he means and means what he says. Now, we'll cover some more next time, and I hope you'll enjoy the links below, and may God richly bless you.